What's going on, everybody? Time for a little Jays talk. Blue Jays lose 3-2 today to the Detroit Tigers, dropped to 22 and 24 on the season. And I'm starting to think that maybe this team just is this. We are a roughly 500 team that can't get out of our own way. We're always a blow up inning, a poor running decision, a terrible day with runners in scoring position away from winning a game. And we always do just enough to lose it. We're not playing winning baseball, as we can tell by our record. And it's just incredibly frustrating to watch that there's always just one or two key plays in the game that are either made or not made by the Blue Jays that ultimately leads to a loss. Frustrating times. Let's get into the recap. So Job was on the mound for Detroit. He's got phenomenal stuff, but he's had a little bit of a rocky start to the year. We had, going back for us, was Jose Barrios. And you expect a fairly well-pitched game, although with Jose Barrios, you never really know what you're going to get. And this game was no different. Jose Barrios comes out in the first inning and lets up a two-spot as he gives up a leadoff single to Carpenter. Torres flies out. McKinstry then singles, and he's leaving these pitches hanging over the plate like we've seen him do so many times. He gets Riley Green to strike out before Torkelson takes him to the opposite field gap off the wall. Varsho, made an effort, but it looked like it was actually gone off the bat, but it hit off the top of that high wall. Ends up being a double, scores McKinstry, scores Carpenter, making it 2-0 Detroit. Not a great start. He gets Sweeney to ground out after that, and he does ultimately settle in after that, which was nice to see. But the first inning there, we were going, oh boy, here we go again. Job comes out for Detroit. Bichette gets a leadoff single. Guerrero Jr. then singles, and then things get a little bit weird here. Dalton Varsho hits a very similar ball to Torkelson. He hits it to the opposite field gap off that high wall, but Akil Baddoo makes a nice running, jumping grab for it and robs him of a hit, probably of a couple RBIs. And the very next hitter, Alejandro Kirk, hits a soft liner into left field again. And this one might have been more of a TV dive, but it was still a nice play by Akil Baddoo as he makes like a bit of a TV dive. He probably could have had it standing with a good jump and everything like that. But anyways, he lays out, catches it. Bo Bichette with just, in my opinion, just like an unforgivable base running error. He's standing on second. The ball is hit in front of him to the left fielder. He watches him lay out and catch it, and he still gets doubled off second. You're not likely to score on that anyways, and it was definitely close enough that I don't know what he was doing being that far off the base. It didn't really look like it was going to drop in, and just another one of those bonehead plays that we see Vlad and Bo make so often. So anyways, Bo Bichette's doubled off, ending the threat. And after two leadoff singles, we end up with still a 2-0 Detroit ballgame through one. So a little bit upsetting there. Like I mentioned, after the first, Barrios did settle in. He lets up a leadoff double and then walks Baddoo. And then he gets Baez lined out, Carpenter flies out, and Torres grounds into a fielder's choice. So good rebound by him getting out of it, keeping it 2-0. And then Job gets Santander, Barger, and Clement out. Santander looked pretty awful today with the strikeouts. He had a couple all right at bats. The one thing he's doing okay right now is he's at least taking close pitches. And he's being selective. He's not swinging at a bunch of garbage up at his eyes like he had been doing in the past. He's just not putting good contact on the ball. And I'm not sure which is more frustrating, big swings at terrible pitches or missing things that are over the plate. But anyways, it's not a good result either way. Jose Barrios has a clean third. Job matches him in the third, going 3 up, 3 down, getting Lucas, Clase, and Bichette. Bichette strikes out to end the inning. In the fourth, Sweeney lines out, and then Dingler singles to left. Baddoo then grounds into a fielder's choice before Baez lines out to second baseman, keeping it 2-0. Bottom of the fourth, the Blue Jays finally push through on Job. Guerrero Jr. leads off with a walk. Varsho then doubles to right, making it second and third, none out. Alejandro Kirk comes up, and I believe, let's check here. Yeah, it was a 3-1 count, and he hits a single over to left field, scoring Guerrero Jr. Varsho moves up to third. Santander strikes out again. What else is new? This was an 8-pitch at bat. As I mentioned, he was doing an all right job in terms of pitch selection, just not getting any results. Barger fouls out to first base, which was a little bit upsetting as well, before Ernie Clement comes up and just shows how clutch he's been lately. Between him and Kirky, two of our best hitters right now. He singles through to the left field. Varsho scores. Kirk moves up to second. First and second, 2 out. Nathan Lucas grounds into a fielder's choice to the third baseman. Kirky out at third. So it's 2-2 heading into the top of 5. Kerry Carpenter comes up and flies out before Torres is hit by a pitch. Another one of Barrios' two-seamers that takes off inside and kind of grazed him in the chest. McKinstry then struck out before Riley Green, one of the best hitters on the planet right now, doubles to right field. I don't know if he actually is, but he's sure hitting well this series, and I know he is having a strong season. But yeah, he's really looking good the last little while. He doubles to right, making it second and third, and then Torkelson is struck out swinging. So a huge rebound there by Barrios because Torkelson was the one that did the damage in the first. So to get him out the next time through here was pretty big for him. Leading off the bottom of fifth, Jonathan Clase singled to left and then showed why he's so dangerous as he stole second. If he could get on base a little bit more, we'd have a real weapon there, but unfortunately he has not been hitting. Bichette walks, making it first and second, none out. In a 2-2 game, you've got to come through here. You've got to find a way, especially with the speed that was on second with Clase. Anything scores him. And you've got Guerrero, Varsho, Kirky coming up. Has to get across. Guerrero grounds out to the pitcher. Varsho lines out to the second baseman, and then Kirky grounds out to third base. So you go 3 up, 3 down there at the end. So yeah, you get 2 on and unable to even move them across or anything. Just terrible stuff there by the heart of our order, Guerrero, Varsho, Kirk. Top of 6, Barrios, as I mentioned, it's settled in, and he's actually putting together a nice performance now. Gets Sweeney to fly out, Dingler singles before Baddoo and Baez get out. So he's done 6, letting up 2. A nice quality start for Jose Barrios. After the way the game started, we would definitely take that. Jackson Jobe matching him pitch for pitch, goes 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of 6. He looked great today. Overpowering fastball. He showed a good changeup. He showed a good, what was that? He was throwing maybe a sweeper, I think is what his other pitch was. But yeah, he looked pretty good. Top of 7, we go to Kerry Carpenter in place of Jose Barrios. Sorry, we go to Mason Fluharty against Kerry Carpenter in place of Jose Barrios. He gets Carpenter to fly out to right field. Torres then walks. Ibanez comes in to hit for McKinstry, and Ibanez reaches on an infield single to third, moving Torres up to second before Riley Green is struck out swinging. And then Torkelson comes up. Now, you could debate whether or not you wanted to keep Mason Fluharty in here. He's been one of our best relievers. They opt to go for Braden Fisher with the hard sliders, and Torkelson singles up the middle to center field. Torres scores. Ibanez is thrown out at third base, ending the inning, but it is now 3-2 Detroit. Brebbia is in to pitch for Detroit in the bottom of the 7th. Nathan Lucas leads off with a walk before Clase struck out looking. Bichette strikes out looking. Guerrero Jr. is walked, and then Varsho is struck out swinging by Herter, who comes in lefty on lefty. And this one was a thing, what they call that, a sweeper? Yeah, it was a sweeper outside that he got Varsho on. Tough matchup for a lefty, but again, you got to come through in a couple of these situations. First and second there, unable to get anything going. We had the guys at the plate that we wanted at the plate, just couldn't get it done. Braden Fisher still in to pitch for us in the 8th. He gets Sweeney to strike out looking. Dingler pops out to second. Baddoo then singles. Baddoo steals second. And then Baez lined out to the shortstop. Bo Bichette made a nice backhanded grab there. That was a hard hit ball. Keeping it 3-2. Heading to the bottom of the 8th. Conley's in to pitch for Detroit now. With Kirky reaching on an infield single to the shortstop, it was a slow chopper up the middle that he had actually good range to get to, but there just wasn't enough time to throw out the speedy Kirky at first base. So Miles Straw comes in to run for Kirk. Santander then strikes out. I think this was another one. Yeah, another 7-pitch at bat where, you know, he took the good pitches, he swung at good pitches, he's just fouling things off and just not being productive. Good job working a count, I guess, but just not what you like to see out of a guy that's being paid that much money to hit dingers. Barger then grounds into a fielder's choice. Barger was actually safe after a throwing error by Sweeney. He threw it into the dugout, so Barger was able to move up to second. So we get a free guy into scoring position there. Clement comes up, grounds out to third base, ending the inning. So it's now 3-2 heading to the 9th. Heineman comes in to catch, Jimmy Garcia in to pitch. He gets Carpenter to ground out, Torres walks, Ibanez pops out, and then Green lines out to left field, keeping it 3-2 heading to the bottom of the 9th. So, again, we need one hit here. We need somebody to get something started for us, and unfortunately, we just couldn't really get that key hit. Nathan Lucas, who's been doing so good for us lately, works a good at-bat. He works 8 pitches, grounds out to the shortstop. Springer comes in as a pinch hitter, and you're thinking like maybe some magic coming off the bench will kickstart us. He strikes out looking after swinging at a 98-mile-an-hour fastball off the plate outside as well. So not the best by Springer. He swung at 98 off the plate outside and then took a slider that broke back over the inside of the plate and got caught frozen. Bichette comes up and hits the ball to a third baseman. He bobbles it and then kind of stumbles around and it goes behind him. Bichette's on safe on the fielding error, and you're thinking, okay, Vladdy's up. we got a guy on first. We get a second life here. Maybe there's some magic coming between like the Springer at bat, the Guerrero at bat. Maybe we can get something going. Ball, strike, ball. 3-2. You've got Bichette on first, who's going to be running. Full count. Anything in the gap is going to tie this game. And Guerrero is fooled by a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He looked like he was sitting off speed. He made a defensive swing and just kind of tapped it to the second baseman. It was really awkward. I don't know what the exit velocity or anything like that was. It was not hit hard, but he looked like he got crossed up. He was sitting something soft. He got 97, low and outside, and just made a really defensive swing with a full count and the runner moving. Not how you want to end a game with your $500 million man at the plate and Bo Bichette on first. But it is what it is. And again, we do just enough to lose a tight game, which is getting so frustrating. So the story of today's game really was the runners in scoring position. We were 2 for 12 and left 9 men on base. And between Bo Bichette getting doubled off and then just untimely at-bats, just not a single really clutch hit in this game, it was enough to sink us ultimately. On the pitching side of things, Jose Barrios went 6 innings pitched, gave up 8 hits, had 4 strikeouts, only the 1 walk, and for him to gut out 6 innings there and a quality start was pretty huge for us. Really good job by him rebounding after that tough first inning. Mason Flaherty gets the loss with the 1 earned run. It is what it is with him. He's been really solid. He's going to let up a run from time to time. Braden Fisher came in for him and ultimately allowed that run. Braden Fisher, he's in my circle of trust at this point. He's throwing a really good fastball. His slider looks good. I don't feel terrible about going to him in any situation, really. So I was okay with the move to Fisher. Like I say, ultimately the run scores, but if your pitching staff can put together a 3-run ball game, you like your odds, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Jimmy Garcia comes in to pitch the 9th, and he had a clean inning, which was good to see. His ERA is back down to 3.3 now, so he's kind of rebounding after having that rough week. And we saved Jeff Hoffman for, future games, I guess, but there's not a lot of positives to take away at this point as we continue to find ways to lose. We're 2 games under 500. The Yankees are really starting to pull away from us in the AL East. And I've mentioned it a few times now, but this team is going to have to decide whether or not they want to continue to play together or whether they want this thing blown up, because right now their heads don't appear in it. They do not appear to want it as much as the other teams. They're running into terrible mistakes on the base pass routinely, costing themselves runs. The pitching has been fine overall. The hitting has been fine overall. There's nothing that's outside of Santander that's a real glaring hole. It's just you're getting outscored by the other team, and that's the name of the game. So anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Are you getting fed up with the way this is going? Did you see anything that we can even change about this, like lineup changes, rotation changes? Is there anything you guys figure we can do to snap this losing and get back on track permanently here? Let me know in the comments, all right? We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.